My parents got divorced when I, teen male, was a toddler. Until last year, I split my time between them equally. When I was a young grammar schooler, my dad remarried and had more kids with his wife. I never liked her much and we argued a lot. She hates my mom too, always did. Then last year, several things changed. My dad was promoted and his base is now out of state. So he and Mom agreed to change the custody schedule and she has me full-time and I see him when he's home. He and his wife separated after that, but they're still married and he goes to stay for some weeks when he's home, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's gone way more than he's there. His wife was angry about the custody schedule changing. She tried to say she'd raised me for the 9 years and should be allowed to keep me in her and my half-siblings' lives, even if Dad isn't always there. I didn't want to go, so Mom said no, and Dad was like, whatever, it's fine by me. Since my last birthday, she's been pushier about me being more involved in her household and not staying away when Dad isn't around. She told me I should be helping out now because she's essentially a single parent even if she's not. I really don't want to be around her, and I told her I don't care about helping her. But she says I owe my family more, and she's family whether I like it or not, and so are my half-siblings. I'm fine with my half-siblings, but not close, and I don't need to see them more than I do. She's getting angrier at me and at Mom because I won't help and won't spend a few hours or nights at her house when Dad isn't there. She's even angrier that I told her she has no authority over me and my mom has custody now. When she mentioned that she's been around most of my life, I told her I never liked her. Since it looks like her and Dad are basically over, I didn't need to have anything more to do with her. She told me I'm disgusting for being so unhelpful and for turning my back on my family. I don't care what she thinks. However, I know that this was harder on my half-siblings, and the last time I saw them, they said they missed me. It was awkward because I don't miss them when I don't see them for months. But all they knew was that me being there 2 weeks a month. Now I'm maybe there 3 weeks a year. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She wants a co-parent, not even just a babysitter. It might suck for those kids. However, your dad's and her marital and living situation have nothing to do with you. You're a teen. What exactly do you owe her? These are her and your father's children, and they are responsible for them. This isn't your problem to solve, or your responsibility to solve it. Absolutely, she wants a stand-in husband now that your dad isn't around. You're a teen and that is not your job. I don't mean anything gross, more like chores, handyman stuff, watching her kids. What a husband or father would do. Not your responsibility. Your father's choice to leave his household doesn't automatically obligate you to pick up the slack. Stepmother just needs to suck it up and pay an outsider to handle what she can't or doesn't care to do. You are not the replacement daddy. Right? It's not OP's job to step in just because someone else isn't handling their own responsibilities. She chose to have more kids. It's not on OP to step up just because their dad dipped. She's taking her anger at her absent husband out on you. And no, she isn't entitled to your free labor when she hasn't been terribly kind to you. Honestly, block her and only keep in touch with your half-siblings, if you want to or can. I live with my ex. I'm currently working on moving out into a place of my own, but due to financial restraints, that will have to wait until the current lease is up. I broke up with my ex about 2 weeks ago, but the problem is that he's not taking it seriously. He still asks me to go shopping for him, tries to hug and kiss me when I leave or return home from work, and asks me to spend time watching movies or playing video games together. He tells me that he loves me, and when I remind him that we aren't together anymore, he gets upset and tells me I'm overcomplicating things. Yesterday, when I came home, he again tried to wrap me up in his arms and kiss me. I told him to stop, and he pouted at me with his hands still on my shoulders and said, "Why are you fighting this? You know we're still in love with each other." I got really mad, stormed into my room, put on my cutest dress, did my makeup and hair, and walked back to the front door. He asked me where I was going, and I told him I have a date and left. I went to see a movie alone. I actually have no intentions of dating anybody right now. I just want to be by myself for a while. When I got home, my ex's eyes and nose were red and puffy. He was playing video games with his headphones on and didn't look at me when I came in. I instantly felt so much regret that my lie hurt him, but I also noticed it was the first time he didn't try to greet me at the door when I got home. Am I the idiot for lying and saying I'm dating other people to get my ex to take our breakup seriously? Edit, yelling and name-calling were what caused the breakup. I told him those were two very simple rules he had to follow if we were going to date, and he kept violating them. I told him after a fight that I didn't want to be with him anymore and it was over, but he never acknowledged it. Everyone's the idiot here. Him for not taking you seriously, and you for not treating this seriously and doing things that will escalate the current situation because common sense has left you. If you're stuck living with an ex and it's not going amicably and you've agreed to, you do not pull stunts that will create more tension. He's not taking you seriously. Find a way to leave. Start asking friends and family if you can stay with them until the lease runs out. Talk to your landlord about getting out of the lease because your ex makes you feel unsafe. Do not pour gasoline on top of a dude that already can't manage his anger. I'm not advising you to tread lightly because I feel sorry for the dude. Nah, heck, his feelings. But you need to pretend to give a crap until you're out. Bill, this guy is gonna hurt you. This level of denial is actually terrifying. Get out. This is essentially what happened with my ex. We weren't living together anymore, but he kept going back and forth between complete denial, saying, "No, we are not over," to say incredibly mean, hurtful and vile things about me and asking me to take him back. This all culminated in him stalking me until he found my new house and breaking into said house to hurt me. I now have a protective order out against him. Be careful, OP. Don't let him near anything of yours that he could tamper with. I'm not sure what your living situation looks like, but if you have your own room, please lock it when you're away. I, 43 male, have been married to my wife, 45 female, and we have 3 kids. My new co-worker, a 34-year-old female, and I took a liking to each other, which was very platonic on my side. We used to text, but nothing questionable. Then she sent me a flirty text and a racy picture of herself. I basically shut her down and told her I don't have any interest in having an affair with her. I have a good wife who gives me a good life, and I don't want to damage it. I decided to tell my wife what happened and we laughed it off. Then she snooped through my phone. She found the texts and was very mad at me. She was mad because she felt that if she were unable to be a good wife to me, I would cheat. I told her that I would divorce her first before I ever consider cheating on her. For a bit of context, I went through a bout of depression a decade ago. My youngest wasn't born yet. I lost my job and it was a dark time. Eventually, my wife asked for a separation. I was able to crawl out of the hole, got a job and so on, and she came back. But after that, I realized that I couldn't lose myself again, or I would lose everything. For her part, she's apologized for leaving and has been a good wife. Now my wife wants me to quit my job and find a new one. I've refused. I'm definitely not going to do it. I don't trust my wife to stay if I can't find another job. I'll lose everything again. So I refused. She taunted me by saying that I just want to go with my co-worker. That's why I won't listen to her. I told her that if she divorces me, she has no business telling me who I date. I basically said to her that I'm not quitting my job, I'm not discussing it anymore. She will probably leave me if I quit my job and struggle to find another one, so she may as well leave me now because I'd rather be divorced than be divorced and jobless. She accused me of holding on to the past, but how could I not? She left me once, I won't ever put myself in that position again. Not the idiot. Personally, I would take the text to HR as more of a point of protecting yourself against potential reprisals from a co-worker. The one who reports first is often the one believed, as they set up the narrative. Your wife is being unfair. Even if you choose to leave your job, do it in a smart way by looking for a new one while still employed, as employers generally prefer candidates with jobs already in hand over those who are unemployed. If HR does their job, there should be no reason to go job hunting. Please tell me you've cut all non-professional contact with the woman in question. If not, then she's got a valid argument that you're being unreasonable. If you have the means to avoid any interactions that are just the two of you, it can be worked around. As my grandfather would say, the appearance of impropriety is just as damaging. Everyone's the idiot here. You guys could benefit from counselling. You hold on to the distrust that if you falter, she's going to leave you. She's distrustful that you would cheat if she's not a good wife. Both of you sound like you forgot the better or worse part of your vows. That basically means if you're not at your best, then either one of you would leave. Frankly, you should always do your best for your partner, but overall it's unrealistic to think you can be that all the time. You need to know if crap is sideways, your wife has your back, and you're a team. She needs to know if she's not always a good wife that you're not going to cheat. That's something you both need to discuss and get out in the open. I, 21 female, recently had a baby. My husband, 24 male, and I decided early on in the pregnancy that we didn't want any outside stress or opinions, especially from our families who can be very overbearing. We moved to another state a year ago, so we figured this was our chance to keep things quiet. I didn't post anything online. I wore loose clothes on FaceTime calls and just told people I was taking a break from social stuff when I started showing. The pregnancy went smoothly and our baby girl was born healthy a few weeks ago. We finally told our families last week and they're furious. My mom cried and said she felt robbed of the experience. My mother-in-law is convinced we did this out of spite. Everyone is calling us selfish and dramatic. I get that it's a big deal to keep something like this from family, but honestly, we just wanted peace and privacy. This was about us, not them. Still, now I'm wondering if we crossed a line. So, am I the idiot? Edit, for the record, my husband and I both come from highly religious families. We both decided to move away after we got married, for the best, knowing we would be having children in the near future. Since we've made the move, we've barely heard from either of our families. We've reached out and only received dry, plain answers, so we stopped trying with them. Not the idiot. They sound entitled. You two moved away and seemingly aren't reliant on them. Being a grandparent is a privilege, not a right. You and your husband wanted that time for peace and intimacy. That's your business. Their feelings can be hurt, but they weren't the ones going through the pregnancy or labor. What did they need to be involved in? Totally agree. You don't owe anyone access to your life, especially when they've been distant. Protecting your peace doesn't make you the villain. Next time, take hundreds of pics before you're pregnant, different outfits, time of day, etc. Then post them occasionally as you get pregnant. No one will know because they will see you normally. Then, bam, baby. brilliant, but as a mom, I would be devastated if my child chose to do this, but that doesn't make you an idiot. I would definitely ask what I could do differently as a parent so that they would want to share their life with me. This hit home because I purposefully hid my 2 pregnancies from my whole family. My oldest is a toddler and they don't have a clue he exists. My friends think it's crazy, but I have too many complicated feelings towards my parents, and I just don't want to share that with them. As a mother, I would also feel heartbroken if my children did this to me. I'm determined to do better for them and break the cycle. I had been seeing this girl for a few months. We met through a friend, so I'd known her a little longer, but she was gorgeous and I was super into her. Last Saturday, she invited me to her place, which I'd never been to. She'd mentioned her apartment was a mess, and I laughed because I thought she was just being self-deprecating, but when we got to her place, holy crap, dude. I want to start off by saying I know that people have their reasons for stuff like this, and I don't want to be disrespectful in any way, but the state of her apartment was genuinely shocking when I first went in. It was a pretty small place, and I'm not just talking about clutter. Literal piles of trash on the floor, a sink full of dishes overflowing onto the counter, stains on the couch and carpet, week-old food on the table, and just piles and piles of stuff everywhere. Not to mention the overpowering smell of mold and mildew that I could literally taste in my mouth. She told me to sit down and stuff like it was completely normal, and I tried not to act weird, but I'm sure she noticed. I stayed for a bit and we watched a movie on the couch, but I left before it got too late. The next day I called her and told her I didn't think things were going to be compatible between us, and she got mad at me for leading her on and breaking up with her for no reason. I didn't mention the apartment, but perhaps I should have. Literally nothing about her appearance or personality would have led me to expect this, so it was somewhat unbelievable to see the state she was living in. I feel bad for her, and I'm worried I might have acted too quickly. Not the idiot. There's a difference between clutter and filth. Also, hoarding is a real problem. It's not like you expected it to be spotless, but yikes. Women don't like dating men who live like pigs, so why should men put up with it? However, I do think you should have mentioned the apartment. People who don't know what the problem is cannot take any corrective action. Tell her and move on. I think you could be right. My niece is like this. She lived with us for a while and completely trashed her room and didn't appear to have any qualms about the kitchen or lounge either. She's a grown adult, and we had to ask her to leave, such was the mess and stench. She doesn't seem to care or need to do anything about it. In fact, I'd say she's butthurt we couldn't tolerate her mess, like it's perfectly normal. She needs to be told by her contemporaries because she certainly didn't care about how we felt about it. I wish I'd paid attention to this red flag. I married my wife without really knowing what her lifestyle was like. From what I understood, she grew up homeless after her parents divorced. Because of that, she developed a habit of hoarding. She's constantly afraid of becoming homeless again, so she holds on to everything. If I'd known what life with her would be like, I probably would have walked away before it got serious. But I stayed married for 9 years, and honestly it was a nightmare. I was always cleaning up after her and trying to get rid of stuff we didn't need. She had things like 21 sewing machines, 5 litter boxes for 1 cat, and even collected old razors that other people had used. Now I'm finally going through a divorce and I feel like I can breathe again. If I'd known about her hoarding issues from the beginning, I never would have moved forward with the relationship. You are absolutely not the idiot. That kind of behavior is a major red flag.